Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. It's been a hot minute, but I'm back. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today I want to talk about the deal that Rex Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup, made with Peacock to have them film a documentary with her and her 2 adult children. Peacock, the streaming service, which is owned by NBC Universal, is paying the family to participate in this documentary covering the family as they journey through Rex's trial and the process leading up to the trial. Apparently, there was an intense bidding process for Ms. Ellerup's story. It's been widely reported that the family is going to get $1 million for this documentary, and this has now caused an outcry from relatives of the women whose remains were found on Gilgo Beach, including the family of Shannon Gilbert, whose disappearance several miles from Gilgo Beach in 2010 led to the discovery of the Gilgo Beach victims. Shannon's sister, Cherie, said, quote, "Disappointed, disgusted, flabbergasted, frustrated are a few words that come to mind right now. The way that the media will buy stories to further re-victimize, re-traumatize, and exploit the families and victims of serialists is evil." End quote. She didn't say serialist, she said serial blank, you know what I mean? Apparently, as long as none of the money flows to Rex Heuermann, the arrangement gets around New York laws that typically prevent defendants from selling their stories to the media. An article in the New York Times about this documentary says, quote, "As Ms. Ellerup's financial fortunes have lifted, so has her profile. Recent weeks have seen her visiting Mr. Heuermann in jail for the first time and making her debut appearance at a court hearing with a Peacock film crew in tow, as it has been at her home. Ms. Ellerup herself appears more composed than the figure she cut upon returning to the house that overnight had become a notorious landmark." End quote. In this same article, her lawyer is quoted as saying this. She, meaning Ellerup, wants to believe that the spouse she's been married to for 27 years wasn't capable of these crimes. She wants to see and hear the evidence as it plays out in the courtroom. End quote. You know, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking maybe Rex Heuermann's lawyer has advised Ellerup that if she cares about her husband's future and his fate, she must appear neutral and no longer say, well, it is what it is. Maybe they're telling her, you need to be open to thinking that he's not guilty if you want him to get off of these charges. This article went on to say that while the Peacock deal really helps Ms. Ellerup's finances, it does pose some complications. I'm going to quote now. It said, "The commercialization of such a depraved case, combined with Ms. Ellerup's payday and her decision to tempt legal fate by going on camera before the trial, has rankled victims' families and law enforcement officials." Suffolk County's outgoing police commissioner Rodney Harrison has said that the deal was, quote, "a smack at the family members who lost a loved one." End quote. And the Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney said in an interview that Ms. Ellerup's involvement with the documentary was, quote, "going to affect her credibility. She's trying to capitalize on her husband's notoriety and make herself marketable. But the truth isn't always marketable, and the money itself could be a motivation to lie." Even Attorney John Ray is quoted in this same article from the New York Times, and he said, "For Ms. Ellerup to speak about Mr. Heuermann to a film crew carries the inherent risk that what she says can be used against her criminally." Ray went on to say they are all walking on extremely thin legal ice. And Ray is also saying that it's implausible that Ms. Ellerup knew nothing about her husband's deeds and said that she should be considered a suspect and investigated accordingly. She's still within the circle of suspicion in this case, and so are the children. Anything she says is very dangerous, end quote. Whoa, so John Ray is now questioning whether the children could have known something about Rex Heuermann's dark deeds, alleged dark deeds. He is still innocent until proven guilty. He hasn't had his trial yet. Ray also said that the deal was a crass commercialization of a case in which coverage has fixated on the accused man and largely ignored the humanity of the victims, partially because they were working as escorts. The article goes on to say that Ms. Ellerup's personality seems ripe for the camera, because, like Rex Heuermann, she grew up mostly in Massapequa Park, a working-class suburb, and she can hold her own against pushy reporters and other interlopers. That's true. We saw her on the porch using a particular finger to express her feelings about reporters being in front of her house. The New York Times is also reporting that along with Ellerup getting $1 million, her lawyer, Macedonio, is getting $400,000, and the children's lawyer, Ves Mitev, is getting $200,000. That's very interesting because it would appear that they are also trying to profit off of this despicable case. According to Mr. Macedonio, he said that the Peacock project would be developed partly by the rapper 50 Cent's production company, which is called G Unit. Interesting. So maybe Asa Ellerup's going to meet 50 Cent. All I can say is unbelievable. And I do understand the feelings of the victims' families. Something ain't right here. Seems like the families should be the ones getting any monies from a documentary about the case. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.